Hi guys, just doing a quick video to show how to set up our volleyballshop.com.au portable net on the beach. We're going to go through all the steps and hopefully give you guys tips to avoid digging holes more than once and to get good tension on your net overall. So enjoy. Okay, once you spread out your net and you've got your two poles, one with the 4 holes and the other one with the 2 spring clips. First step, get your base. This is your bottom pole. It's got a little lug and it's got the spring clip, and on the other side there's just the spring clip. Get the end with a lug, stick your base on top, push the spring clips in, slide the pole through, and then that is locked in there. Okay, the pole sinks in the sand and that gives it some stability. It won't move around so much, okay, but it will drop it. And this is why we've got the 4 holes, so we can use this net on grass and beach. On the beach, this pole is this way up. On the beach, that's men's height, mixed height, and women's height, okay, and then that's a lower height. And then of course on the grass, we come up one because this pole is going to sit higher on the grass, and we've got men's height, mixed height, and women's height there. Okay. Another little tip, so this pole normally goes on this way. Another little tip, if you've got juniors or you want an even lower height, you can invert this pole and it gives you 2 more heights as well. So that's the pole inverted, okay? And vice versa, make sure we get the pole round the right way if we want the adult heights. Okay? Another little tip, if you're coming close, sometimes it's hard to line the holes. If we ever get lost, we want the men's height, go up to the next hole, which is the mixed height hole. Make sure we split that hole with the end of the tube, and then you can just rotate the tube and it will pop out there. Okay, so it gives us a little guide in that window. Once we've done that, just make sure there's no sand between the poles. Slide the pole on, and we're going to do the other side. Okay, so we've laid out our net, we've got our poles on, we've now laid out the guy lines, and we've got our anchors ready to go. Little guy with the guy lines, I reckon dump them about 3 meters, 3 steps apart to start off with. Start with the non-adjustable sides, so this is just the straight ropes, okay? And just come up the rope a little bit and start digging our hole. When we dig our hole, we want to keep the integrity of the sand as much as possible and just dig the size of the anchor. Okay, so I'm quite careful. I stab down and then just pull out. Stab down and pull out. The depth of the hole really depends on the sand type, whether it's really dry, really moist, etc, etc. We've got quite nice wet sand or damp sand here today, so it's going to be quite easy to dig these holes in. But yeah, if you've got a super dry sand that goes deep, it can be a little more of an effort. I always suggest as well, if we're in doubt of how deep to go a little deeper. There's nothing worse than your net falling down while you're in the middle of playing. You come across now, you can see this nice hole that I've dug. It's got nice sharp edges that are undisturbed and it's quite deep. Little tip with the anchor. This anchor has the easy release handle. At the end of the games when we've stopped playing and we're taking the net down, very easy to pull this out. Tip though is keep this corner with the release handle the furthest away from the pole. So the same angle as the rope, keep it there. And that'll just help when it comes to pulling it out. Okay? Come back in. When we put the anchor in, I always like to slide it in, any loose sand, get it under, and again, try and tuck it under that undisturbed sand and jam it in there so it's got something to really bite against and it's not going to pull out. Once you've done that, fill in your sand, making sure we don't bury the end, and we can pat it down or stand on it if we really want. Okay, so we don't lose this end, we might as well connect it now and then go and do the other one to lock it in. I think this is where a lot of people go wrong with the net. A lot of people, they try and stand the net up when they've only got the two anchors in. My advice, leave the net flat at this stage. First thing to do, grab the net, pull it. Pull it nice and tight. So I can't pull that any further. From here, drop that down. Your tensioners, fully extend them. So there's a button up here, you just push that up and you pull the rope through. If there's too much slack here, we're not going to get the best tension. So leave about 1 inch so we can still grab the knot, but undo the tensioners. And again, lay them out, good 3 steps apart, nice and wide, and we'll dig our holes inside. These holes, we need to be careful with where we dig them so we don't have to dig them twice. A couple of bits of advice. I always say come up at anchor length at least and dig in there somewhere. Same thing here. Try an anchor length in, a little bit more, and we'll be safe there. So you can get an idea, that's where we want to dig them. And that'll get you all the way up to men's height and all the way down to women's with the tension. So we've got all our anchors in now, all 4. We dug these ones up at least 1 meter, and that should give us enough slack so we can get the net up, and then we can add a little bit of tension. The other great benefit of this is you can set a net up very easy on your own. You don't need anybody else. Pop this pole up, lean it in a little bit. Pop this pole up. You can already see how there's a little bit of tension now. Okay? The pole without the tensioners, we just want to make sure that's nice and straight. Okay? Even probably leaning this way a little, because once we put tension on, it's going to pull it across a little bit. Okay? Back over to the tensioning side. Same thing, lean it over. A little bit of pulling on the ropes. Not too much, we really don't need that much. These are quite an effective way of tensioning the net. Once we feel there's enough tension there, you can slide the pole slightly. Get it nice and straight. Okay. your height holes, we can see this is currently on men's. So the spring clip is in the bottom hole. This would be mixed. This would be women's. And this would be a junior height, a little lower than women's. Okay. This is on the sand, where you can see the pole is inside the sand a little bit. So if we lift that up, you can see the pole is sliding in the sand. Should this net be on a hard surface like grass or concrete or tarmac or anything, the holes change because that pole will obviously sit up there. So that would then be men's, mixed and women's, and this height would be above a men's, 95 mil above a men's. Once we've got our net up and we've got a bit of tension on it, it's always a good idea just to check the ropes are taking the majority of the tension of the net. We don't want all the tension going through the banding, or we're in danger of stretching the banding, pulling the stitching, or at worst ripping the banding. Okay, so all I'll do, place my finger on that top rope, make sure there's lots of tension in that rope and a little bit of tension in the banding. So we want most of the tension through the rope and a little bit. That's almost perfect there. Very tight on the rope, quite tight on the banding, perfect. Same on the bottom, a little bit of tension on the banding, but the rope is really tight. If we do need to adjust it, the bottom rope is nice and easy. We can just pull our pole in, pull the rope through, pull a little bit of the rope through the aluminium holes, and that'll just add a little bit of tension, and then we pull it back and we've got a little bit more tension through the bottom rope. With the top, same as the bottom, just check the banding, bit of tension there, but we want the majority of the tension going through the top rope. Okay, that'll give us a better playing net, and it'll also help the longevity of our net. Okay, if we need to adjust, we can remove the tension on the tensioners. I'll explain that on the pack down. Or easiest way for me is just pull the pole out. Okay, release the tension, adding a bit of tension to the rope. Just push the rope through the aluminium, yeah, and then just slide it down into the pole there, and then pop your pole back up. And now there's loads of tension on that rope and not too much tension on the banding, which is perfect. Okay, and that'll help the net last long and give you a better playing net. Where the ball hits the top rope, it'll react a little bit more how it should. Once you've got your net set up, you might want to use it at different heights during the day, or even different heights on each pole. We can easily adjust this, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So it's currently at men's. Let's say we're going to go to a women's height, okay? So, a couple of ways to release tension. You can pull the pole from under itself and release the tension that way. Or we can release the tension from the tensioners by grabbing the tension side. Here's your button up here, putting your finger on the bottom, pull down on the tension side, push up on the button, and then slowly release, nice and controlled, and that'll save our ratchet, okay? So same thing on this side, release the tension. Now we can very easily adjust, that's mixed, down to a women's height, do the other side, and then retension the net. So we're just going to set out the lines now. First thing to do is just spread your lines out. How are these packed up? Okay. So sometimes I just like to get the first anchor, stick it in a little bit of sand so it's not going to go anywhere. Go from one corner straight across the court diagonally, unwrapping the lines. First tip with the lines is rotate the winder, don't pull the lines off the side. If you pull the lines off the side, they twist, and you end up with a big job untwisting at the end. So as you can see, I'm rotating the winder around the lines rather than pulling the lines off one side. Same when we pack lines up, we'll be doing the same. as you can see, we've left the anchors on these lines. That's really just personal preference. I like to leave them on. We definitely know we're not going to lose them. And then we know they're always there. Tuck them on your winder as you wind up, and then they're not really in the way either. Okay, now we've unwound the line from corner to corner. The first thing we want to find is the middle. Okay, on these lines there's a nice convenient hole in the middle, and that is the middle of the net. Okay, we're going to come in roughly 700 mil or so, coming from the side. A little tip here is that if you've got antennas or peg and you're doing this on your own again, little tip here, get your hole under the net, get your antenna, and just stick that in the ground there, okay? And then that is going to hold that center point. From there we can run it out. And get the corner. So now we've got that end pinned in, we've got the corner, hold the corner tight. We want to come out at a 45-degree angle, okay? And then we want to add some tension, okay? And then we're going to just by hand, we don't need a spade for this, dig a little hole, same concept, get your anchor there, tuck it under that undisturbed sand, and place your sand on top. With sand anchors for boundary lines, I don't like to dig them too deep, because if someone does happen to trip on the boundary line, I'd rather the sand anchor pop out than something snap or someone get injured. So I don't dig them too deep, just so they're nice and secure, and then we know that it's better for the equipment, and it can be a safety thing as well. Okay. We work our way around. You can do the same with the other middle, with the other antenna. Work our way around. If you've got more people, lines can be a bit easier, and then we're good to go. I'll show you that now. Great, so we finished all our lines now. Get out any twists. Pull our antennas now. The lines are sitting there in the center of the court, nice and square, good to go. The only last thing to do is, if you've got antennas, these are the volleyshop.com.au antennas as well, the two-piece. Okay, they come nice and compact, and they have pockets for both sides, so we don't lose either bits of antenna. First thing to do, pull out the top, secure it in, make sure it is nice and secure, it's not going to fall out when we play, and make sure that the joiner is below the height of the sleeve. Yeah, that just makes sure it's secure as well. Okay, so you can't see the joiner. Okay. From here, open up all the Velcro. 1, 2, 3. And the full length, 4. Line it up with a line, throw it over the top, Velcro down, lock it in there, Velcro here, bottom bit comes up, and then the lock there. Once we've done one side, do the other side with antenna. And at this stage, this is where I actually quite like to just check the net height here. That's actually quite high, it's sitting quite high. The poles are just sitting up quite predominantly. We don't want to go down a hole, that'd be too much. That we probably only need to make up a little bit. All I would do, maybe shugle the pole in a little, adjust the tension, and get it to where it's the perfect playing height. Okay? Every beach is different, has different undulations, different kind of sand and stuff. The poles tend to sit higher if anything. It's easier to just drop the poles down than to prop them up. Okay, so with our nets, you shouldn't need to prop the poles up ever. If anything, you should just be able to shuffle them into the sand a bit, drop them down to get your perfect height for men's, women's, or mixed. Packing up lines, guys. Okay, so when I pack up lines, I like to remove all the anchors bar one corner, start in the opposite corner. I like to leave my anchors on so that they're always there, we don't lose them. Start with your anchor, push it through your winder. When we're doing the lines, rather than wind the lines onto the winder, I rotate the winder, and this just stops any twisting happening in the lines. So you can see they're nice and flat. I'm rotating the winder every time. I'm not rotating the lines onto the winder. I'm rotating the winder around the lines. Once we get, in a second, once we get to another anchor, I'll show you what we do there. Approaching an anchor, what I like to do is, once we get to this stage, grab the anchor, wind it around, and just tuck it into the winder so it's not in the way. Okay? And same thing, rotating the winder on top of the lines. So we finished playing and it's time to take the net down. So, under tension, these buttons are really hard to pull up, and if we just force them up, we risk damaging the ratchet inside. So, a couple of options. Option one, this is the one I prefer, is slight lift of the pole and remove the pole from under the net, and as you can see, the tension comes off. Option two is grab onto the net with one hand. With the other hand, make sure you've got the button and you're ready to lift the button on the tensioner, okay? As you pull down with this hand, we lift the button with the other hand, and then we can slowly release the tension on the tensioner. Once the tension's released, we can drop the net, take the guy lines off, and remove the poles. Now the anchors with these quick release handles. Okay, so if you remember at setup, we put the corner this was attached to away from the pole. That's because that anchor is now sitting like that, and if you pull it, it should come out the sand nice and easy. Don't use this handle when the tension is on. You have to release the tension first, and that'll allow the disc to flip. If the tension's on, the disc's not going to want to flip, and it's not really going to work as effectively, and you'll end up having to pull this really hard. Once the tension's off, quick tug, and then it will just lift out. Rolling the net up, guys, nice and easy. I don't like to roll it from one end because that'll take a longer time. Take one end, bring it all the way to the other. Wind them up nicely. And just roll the net. Encourage the banding to come in. It's not all propped up. Finish in the middle. That's your net. Leave it on the poles. So it's ready to set up for the next time, and hopefully all your ropes and everything should be tensioned correctly. No knots, nice and easy, nice and quick.